Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. 50 years marked since the proclamation of national emergency. The 18th Lok Sabha Speaker has been elected by a voice note. Wikileaks founder Julian Assange freed by the United States court. UNODC released the annual World Drug Report 2024. UGC-NET exam paper leaked on the Darknet. Developing India as the manufacturing hub for electronics components and sub-assemblies, CII report released. In our very first news, 50 years has been marked since the proclamation of national emergency on June 25, 1975. This emergency was declared by the President on the recommendation of then Prime Minister, citing a perceived internal threat to the nation's security. Before this, India had witnessed two other national emergencies due to external conflicts: the war with China in 1962 and the war with Pakistan in 1971. Now let's delve into the current constitutional provisions regarding the proclamation of a national emergency. According to Article 352 of the Constitution, such a proclamation can be made by the President upon receiving a written request from the Union Cabinet. The grounds for declaring a national emergency include threats to the security of India or any part thereof, whether due to war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. Parliamentary approval is a crucial aspect of this process. Both houses of Parliament must approve the proclamation within 1 month. Initially, the emergency can last for 6 months but can be extended for additional 6-month periods indefinitely, provided each extension is approved by both houses of Parliament. The President also holds the power to revoke the emergency at any time. The impact of a national emergency on the nation's governance and civil rights is profound. The fundamental rights can be suspended, particularly Article 19, which pertains to freedoms such as speech and assembly if the emergency is due to war or external aggression. Moreover, the President can suspend the right to move any court for the enforcement of other fundamental rights except for Articles 20 and 21, which cover protection in respect of conviction for offences and the right to life and personal liberty respectively. Centralization of power is another significant consequence. During a national emergency, the Parliament is empowered to make laws on any matter, including those within the state list of the Constitution. The Union Government can direct states on how to exercise their executive power under Article 353. Additionally, the President may modify provisions related to the allocation of financial resources between the Union and the states, specifically Articles 268 to 279. Modification may last till fiscal year in which such proclamation ends.
In our next news, let's address a vital update in Indian politics. The 18th Lok Sabha Speaker has been elected by a voice vote. This event marks a crucial moment in the functioning of India's lower house of the Parliament. It's worth noting that the election of speakers in India has traditionally been an unopposed affair. In fact, since the inception of the Lok Sabha, there have been only 3 occasions, in 1952, 67 and 76, when the speaker's position was contested. The election process is guided by Article 93 of the Indian Constitution, which mandates that the Lok Sabha shall choose 2 of its members to serve as Speaker and Deputy Speaker. The date for this election is fixed by the President of India, and the decision is made by a simple majority of members present and voting. The Speaker's role is pivotal in the day-to-day functioning of the Lok Sabha. As a presiding officer, the Speaker is responsible for maintaining order and decorum in the House. Interestingly, the Speaker's term does not end with the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. They continue in office until immediately before the first meeting of the newly elected Lok Sabha. Additionally, he or she is eligible for re-election. Among the Speaker's many responsibilities is the crucial task of being the guardian of the rights and privileges of the House, its committees, and its members. They have the authority to regulate all matters not specifically provided for in the rules. In cases of deadlock, the Speaker can use their powers to vote to resolve the situation. The Speaker also presides over joint sittings of both houses of the Parliament. Furthermore, he or she has sole authority to decide whether a bill qualifies as a money bill under Article 110, Clause 4 of the Constitution. However, the office of the Speaker is not without its critics. Unlike in countries like Britain, where the Speaker resigns from their political party to maintain neutrality, in India, the Speaker continues to retain party membership. This has led to concerns about potential bias, especially in matters requiring discretionary powers, such as decisions regarding the anti-defection law or the classification of money bills. In conclusion, the election of the Lok Sabha Speaker is a cornerstone of India's parliamentary democracy. While the role carries immense responsibility and power, ongoing debates about its structure highlight the need for continuous evaluation and improvement of our democratic institutions. In our next news, Julian Assange, the controversial founder of Wikileaks, has been freed by a US court. Wikileaks, founded by Assange in 2006, gained international attention for its publication of classified and restricted materials regarding wars, espionage, and corruption. The organization shot to prominence in 2010 when it released classified US military documents and videos from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, positioning itself as a vital whistleblower platform on the internet. Whistleblowing is a disclosure of information to the public or some higher authority about any wrongdoing, which could be in the form of fraud, corruption, etc. in a company or government. It promotes accountability and transparency, exposes malpractices, protects public interest, etc. However, the Wikileaks case has brought to light several ethical dilemmas. One key issue is a delicate balance between protecting whistleblowers and safeguarding national security. While exposing malpractices serves the public interest, it can potentially compromise sensitive government operations. The case also raises questions about media responsibility in handling classified information. Journalists face the challenge of fulfilling their duty to inform the public while responsibly managing potentially dangerous or sensitive data. Furthermore, the Assange case highlights the tension between the public's right to information and government's need for confidentiality, especially in matters of national security. In India, several laws address the protection of government secrets. The Official Secrets Act of 1923 provides a framework for dealing with espionage and other potential threats to national integrity. Rule 11 of the Central Civil Services Conduct Rules 1964 governs how government servants communicate official information. Additionally, Section 8, Clause 1 of the Right to Information Act 2005 exempts the disclosure of information that could harm India's sovereignty and integrity. In conclusion, as we process this breaking news, it's crucial to consider the broader implications of Assange's release. This decision will likely fuel ongoing debates about the balance between transparency and security in our increasingly interconnected world.
Ahead in the news, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has released its annual World Drug Report of 2024. This report was published on World Drug Day, observed annually on June 26 since 1987, to bolster efforts toward achieving a drug-free world. First and foremost, the report indicates a concerning rise in drug abuse over the past decade. The number of people using illicit drugs has surged to 292 million as of 2022. Among the most abused substances, cannabis tops the list, followed by opioids, amphetamines, cocaine, and ecstasy. The report also sheds light on regions most affected by drug-related criminal activity and trafficking. These are typically remote areas with multiple borders and limited governance. Notable examples include the Triple Frontier area where Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay meet, and the Golden Triangle spanning Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand. In terms of legislation, cannabis has been legalized across Canada, Uruguay, and 27 jurisdictions in the United States. This trend reflects a growing acceptance of cannabis, though it's important to note that Delta-9, tetrahydrocannabinol or THC, is the main psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, remains a subject of concern. The environmental impact of illegal drug activities is another critical issue highlighted in the report. These activities contribute significantly to deforestation, toxic waste dumping, and chemical contamination, exacerbating environmental degradation. Addressing the global drug crisis requires robust initiatives. On the international front, the Commission on Narcotic Drugs was established by the UN's Economic and Social Council in 1946. Additionally, the UNODC, founded in 1997, continues to tackle issues of drug control, crime, and international terrorism. The UN Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances 1988 and the UN Decade Against Drug Abuse 1991 to 2000 further underscore global efforts. In India, the government has launched several initiatives to combat drug abuse. The Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, spearheaded by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, aims to create a drug-free India. The Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985 is another significant legislative measure in this ongoing battle. In conclusion, the annual World Drug Report by the UNODC serves as a stark reminder of the persistent and evolving challenges posed by the illicit drugs.
Moving ahead, in a shocking development that has sent ripples through the academic community, the University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test or UGC-NET exam has been cancelled due to paper leak on the Darknet. This incident has raised serious concerns about the security of our examination systems and highlighted the growing challenges posed by the dark corners of the internet. The Darknet, a part of the internet that remains hidden from conventional search engines and browsers like Chrome or Safari, has once again proven to be a double-edged sword. It generally uses non-standard communication protocols which make it inaccessible to internet service providers or government authorities. Content on Darknet is encrypted and requires a specific browser such as Tor or the Onion Ring browser to access those pages. But what exactly is the Darknet? It's a subset of the deep web which includes sites that are protected by passwords. Notably, part of the internet that is readily available to the general public and searchable on standard search engines is called as surface web. The Darknet's applications are diverse. Journalists and citizens in oppressive regimes use it to communicate without government censorship. Researchers and students rely on it to explore sensitive topics. Even law enforcement agencies utilize the Darknet for various purposes. However, the same anonymity that protects the free speech in authoritarian countries also facilitates illegal activities. The Darknet has become notorious for drug dealing, terrorist communication, and the distribution of child pornography, among other criminal endeavors. In conclusion, this incident serves as a wake-up call for educational institutions and examination boards across the country. It underscores the urgent need for enhanced cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive information from falling into the wrong hands.
In our next news, the Confederation of Indian Industry has released a report emphasizing the potential for India to transition its electronics sector from an import-dependent, assembly-led manufacturing model to a more robust, component-level, value-added manufacturing hub. Its key components highlights the need for fostering growth and self-reliance in the electronics industry, which is expected to expand from $102 billion in 2023 to $500 billion by 2030. The report highlights that currently China accounts for 62% of India's electronic component imports, underscoring the need for a strategic shift. The report identified 5 other components for priority development, including lithium-ion batteries, camera modules, and mechanical such as enclosures, displays, and printed circuit boards. However, several challenges hinder India's progress towards becoming a global hub for electronics manufacturing. High import tariffs reduce global competitiveness, trade agreements predominantly with low consumption, high production countries lead to trade deficits, and low investment in research and development stifles revenue and manufacturing potential. To overcome these hurdles, the report recommends that states provide land at concessional rates and develop plug-and-play infrastructures, which includes ready facilities with essential connectivity and utilities. Additionally, fostering public-private partnerships and government-funded institutions can provide smaller companies with access to necessary infrastructure. Rationalizing import tariffs on priority sub-assemblies and components is also crucial. The Indian government has already initiated several schemes to promote electronic manufacturing. These include the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme for large-scale electronics manufacturing and IT hardware, the Scheme for Promotion of Manufacturing of Electronic Components and Semiconductors, the Modified Electronics Manufacturing Cluster Scheme or EMC 2.0, and the National Policy on Electronics 2019. These initiatives aim to enhance the ecosystem for electronics manufacturing in India, making it more competitive and self-sufficient.
In today's Place in News, we will discuss Denmark with its capital Copenhagen. Denmark, a major pork and dairy exporter, will introduce a tax on livestock carbon dioxide emissions from 2030, making it the first country to do so. Let's discuss its political features. It is a Nordic country of the Northern Europe and is part of the Jutland Peninsula. It shares its territorial boundaries with Germany in the south. Its surrounding water bodies include North Sea on the west coast and Kattegat Bay on the east coast. In terms of its geographical features, Denmark is an archipelago of around 400 islands, with the biggest island being Zealand. Its longest river is Gudeno, and the warm Gulf Stream or the North Atlantic Current moderates the climate. Also, the rain falls throughout the year.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Migration and Development Brief 2024 has been released by the World Bank. Its key highlights include remittance that flows to low and middle-income countries reached to $656 billion. Recently, the Ministry of Labour and Employment has taken note of media reports claiming that married women are not being allowed to work at Apple iPhone plant in India. The Equal Remuneration Act 1976 provides for equal remuneration to men and women workers for the same work or work of similar nature. SEBI has amended provision of insider trading regulations to give flexibility to insider traders for trading plans. Insider refers to any person, usually senior management and officials in a company, who has access to unpublished price-sensitive information. Central Electronics Limited is granted Mini Ratna status, that is Category 1. A company is eligible for Mini Ratna Category 1 where it makes profit in the last 3 years continuously. Pre-tax profit is Rs 30 crores or more in at least one of the 3 years and have a positive net worth. NSIL India and Space Machines Australia signed an agreement to launch Space Machines Company's second Optimus spacecraft. New Space India Limited is under the Department of Space and the commercial arm of the Indian Space Research Organisation. DRDO handed over the medium-range microwave obscurant shaft rocket to the Indian Navy. MRMOCR is developed by the DRDO's Defence Laboratory in Jodhpur. Anusandhan National Research Foundation supported research on to production of hydrogen gas from a mixture of methanol and paraformaldehyde. ANRF was established as a statutory body by the ANRF Act 2023. Climate impact is impacting Tanzania's Lake Natron. Lake Natron is the only significant and regular breeding site for the East African population of lesser flamingo. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solution to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.